Before the bell rang, before the first strike was thrown, before 3,000 voices turned from curiosity to hostility in the span of a single breath, there was silence. The kind of silence that settles over a crowd when anticipation has reached its breaking point and all that remains is to see whether the moment will deliver on its promise or collapse into disappointment. Inside Lumpinee Stadium on a humid February evening in 1971, that silence hung heavy in the smoky air, thick with the scent of tiger balm, sweat, and grilled street food drifting in from the vendors outside. The wooden bleachers creaked under the weight of 3,000 bodies pressed shoulder to shoulder, all eyes fixed on the elevated ring at the center of the hall where a single woman stood under brutal white lights, her silhouette sharp and unmistakable. She was not tall. She was not imposing in the way that heavyweights are imposing. But she radiated something that made even the largest men in the audience sit up straighter, made even the loudest voices drop to whispers. Her name was Nong Mai, and in Thailand, that name carried the weight of legend. They called her the Iron Rose. Beautiful, yes. Graceful in movement, yes. But merciless when the bell rang. 70 professional Muay Thai fights. 70 victories. Not 70 wins padded with easy opponents or questionable judges. 70 brutal, undeniable, often humiliating displays of superiority over anyone foolish enough to step into the ring with her. Men twice her size had tried. Decorated champions from neighboring countries had tried. Arrogant foreigners who thought they understood violence had tried. All of them left with broken ribs, shattered egos, or worse. Some never fought again. Not because their bodies gave out, but because their spirits did. Nong Mai did not just defeat opponents. She dismantled them, technique by technique, until there was nothing left but the hollow understanding that they had never been in her league to begin with. Tonight was not a championship defense. Tonight was something different, something unprecedented. The organizers had billed it as a demonstration, a public showcase to prove that female fighters deserved respect, that Muay Thai was not just a man's sport, that skill and discipline could transcend size and gender. Nong Mai had insisted on it. She was tired of whispers, tired of doubt, tired of hearing that her victories only counted because she fought women or because male fighters went easy on her out of politeness. Tonight she would prove, once and for all, that she could dominate anyone. And she would do it by selecting a volunteer at random from the crowd. No rehearsal. No setup. Just pure, unfiltered reality. The arena buzzed with nervous energy. Spectators craned their necks, wondering who she would choose, secretly praying it would not be them. Nong Mai stood in the center of the ring, dressed in traditional Muay Thai shorts, red silk embroidered with gold thread. Her Mongkon headband, blessed by monks, sat perfectly on her dark hair. Her hands were wrapped, her feet bare, her expression unreadable. She moved to the edge of the ring and scanned the crowd slowly, deliberately, her eyes passing over row after row of faces. Men looked away. Women clutched their husbands. Children stared in wide-eyed fascination. Then her gaze stopped. Row 12. Near the back. A small man, sitting quietly among a group of animated tourists and local fight enthusiasts. He was not cheering. He was not drinking. He was simply watching, his posture relaxed, his face calm. He wore simple dark clothing, no gym attire, no Muay Thai colors, nothing to suggest he was a fighter. He looked, to most people in that stadium, like someone who had wandered into the wrong event. Nong Mai raised her arm and pointed directly at him. Her voice, amplified by the arena's aging sound system, cut through the noise like a blade. You. Come down. The crowd turned. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. 3,000 pairs of eyes followed the line of her finger to the small man in row 12. He did not react immediately. He simply sat there, processing. Someone next to him, a panicked-looking American tourist, leaned over and whispered urgently in English. You don't have to do this. Just shake your head. She'll pick someone else. The man in row 12 shook his head slightly, not in refusal but in quiet disagreement. He stood. Slowly, calmly, he began making his way down the crowded aisle toward the ring. As he descended, the crowd's reaction shifted from confusion to amusement to outright mockery. Laughter rippled through the bleachers. People nudged each other, pointed, made jokes in Thai. Look at him. He's tiny. Is this a joke? She's going to break him in half. Poor guy. Someone should stop this before he gets hurt. The man ignored them all. He reached the ring. Climbed the steps, ducked through the ropes, and stood on the canvas. Under the lights, his size became even more apparent. 5'7" at most. Maybe 140 pounds soaking wet. No visible muscle mass. No tattoos, no scars, no signs of a fighter's life. He looked like an office worker, a tourist, a man who had made a terrible mistake. The referee, an older Thai man with a weathered face and decades of experience reading fighters, approached him with the microphone. "What is your name?" the referee asked in Thai, then repeated in broken English. The man took the microphone. His voice was quiet, steady, without arrogance or fear. Bruce Lee. The name hung in the air for a moment. Then silence. Nobody reacted. Not a single person in that stadium recognized the name. To them, Bruce Lee was just another random syllable in a language full of unfamiliar sounds. Just another nobody about to be embarrassed on live Thai television. The referee continued. "Do you have any fighting experience?" "Some," Bruce replied. "What style do you practice?" "Wing Chun," Bruce said. "And my own system. Jeet Kune Do." The referee frowned. He had never heard of Jeet Kune Do. Neither had anyone else in the building. It sounded made up, like something a desperate man would invent to sound credible. The crowd's laughter grew louder. This was getting better. Not only was he small and soft-looking, but he practiced some obscure Chinese style nobody had ever heard of. This wasn't going to be a fight. This was going to be a public execution. The referee gestured toward Nong Mai. "The champion has agreed to light contact only. This is a demonstration, not a death match. Do you understand?" Bruce nodded. "I understand." Nong Mai stepped forward. For the first time, she looked directly into Bruce's eyes. What she saw there unsettled her in a way she could not immediately explain. There was no fear. No bravado. No desperation. Just focus. Calm, unblinking, total focus. It was the look of someone who had already seen the outcome and accepted it. The referee called them both to the center of the ring. He repeated the rules in Thai, then in English. Light contact. Stop at referee's signal. Respect at all times. Both fighters touched gloves. Traditional respect. Then they returned to their corners. The bell rang. Nong Mai moved first. She advanced with textbook Muay Thai form, weight balanced on her rear leg, hands high, ready to check kicks, ready to counter. She had fought 70 times. She knew every trick, every tendency, every weakness the human body could reveal under pressure. She threw a testing jab. Fast. Snapping. Bruce's head moved just slightly. The jab missed by an inch. The crowd murmured. Lucky. Had to be lucky. She threw a combination. Jab, cross, low kick. Standard Muay Thai sequence, designed to overwhelm, to force a reaction, to create openings. Bruce was not there when the punches arrived. The kick sliced through empty air. He had moved. Not a dramatic leap. Not a wild scramble. Just a small, economical shift of weight and angle. Nong Mai reset. This man moved differently than anyone she had faced. Not traditional Muay Thai footwork. Not boxing. Something fluid, something adaptive, something that refused to commit until the last possible instant. She increased the pressure. She threw a straight knee, aimed at his midsection. Fast. Brutal. The kind of knee that had ended fights in the first round. Bruce's hand came down, met the knee, redirected it just enough to strip away its power. Nong Mai felt the contact. That was not a block. That was control. She attacked again. Elbow strike. One of the most devastating weapons in Muay Thai. Bruce slipped it, moved inside, too close for her to generate force. His hand touched her shoulder lightly, almost gently. Then he was gone, back to range. The message was clear. He could have struck. He chose not to. The crowd was no longer laughing. Something strange was happening. Their champion, their undefeated Iron Rose, was swinging at air. Nong Mai recognized it now. This man could fight. Really fight. This was not luck. This was skill. High-level skill. She decided to test him with her best technique. The one that had given her 20 of her 70 victories. A jumping knee. Explosive. Powerful. Closing distance instantly. Bruce saw it coming. He stepped offline. His hand touched her knee as it passed, guiding it, redirecting its trajectory. She landed slightly off balance. Just slightly. But enough. In that instant, Bruce could have countered. Could have ended it. He did not. The arena was completely silent now. 3,000 people were watching something they did not understand, something that challenged everything they thought they knew. They had come to see their champion destroy a random volunteer. Instead, they were watching the volunteer make their champion look ordinary. 90 seconds had passed. Nong Mai had not landed a single clean technique. She had tried everything. Jabs, crosses, elbows, knees, kicks, feints, combinations. All of it met empty space or redirected force. And through it all, Bruce had not thrown a single offensive strike that he was simply demonstrating. Showing her, showing the crowd, that he could avoid everything she had. Nong Mai felt something she had not felt in 70 fights. Frustration. Not anger. Not fear. Just the creeping realization that she was fighting someone who operated on a different level. Then Bruce decided to end it. Nong Mai threw another jumping knee, committing everything. Bruce did not avoid this one. He stepped into it, inside the technique, where the knee had no power. His left hand controlled her leg. His right hand rose, smooth and precise, and stopped exactly 1 inch from her throat. Extended. Perfectly placed. Perfectly controlled. The referee saw it immediately. He blew his whistle sharply. The match was over. Bruce lowered his hand, stepped back, and bowed respectfully. Nong Mai stood there, breathing hard, sweat dripping from her forehead, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. She had just fought for 90 seconds and landed nothing. Not one clean strike. And he had stopped with his hand at her throat. Could have finished it. Could have humiliated her in front of 3,000 people, on television, in her own country. But he chose mercy. The arena remained silent for several long seconds. Then, slowly, someone began to clap. Then another. Then the entire stadium erupted. Not polite applause. Real, thunderous recognition. They had just witnessed something rare. Not a knockout. Not a victory. Something deeper. Respect. Nong Mai walked forward and extended her hand. Western handshake. Bruce took it. They shook, and she bowed deeply. When she straightened, her voice was quiet, but the microphone caught it. You could have beaten me. Why didn't you? Bruce's reply was just as quiet. This is a demonstration. Not a fight. I have no desire to harm you. You are a great champion. The crowd roared louder. This was what they came for. Not blood. Not domination. Honor. Sportsmanship. The recognition that true strength does not need to prove itself through cruelty. As Bruce climbed out of the ring and walked back toward his seat, people reached out to touch his shoulder, to shake his hand, to ask his name again. Who was that? Did you hear? Bruce Lee. Never heard of him. Doesn't matter. We just saw him. The man who had been sitting next to Bruce, the panicked American tourist, was still in shock. That was incredible, he whispered. But you just embarrassed Thailand's national hero on Thai soil. We should probably leave. Quickly. Bruce shook his head. I didn't embarrass her. I showed respect. There's a difference. They stayed for the rest of the event. Nobody bothered them. But people watched. People took note. People remembered. Nong Mai went on to fight 15 more times. She won them all. She retired with 85 consecutive victories. Still undefeated. Still champion. But she never forgot the night in February 1971. Never forgot the small Chinese man who could have ended her streak, could have humiliated her, but chose grace instead. Years later, when she became a trainer herself, she told her students about Bruce Lee. About the demonstration. About what real martial arts looks like. He was smaller than me. Lighter than me. Had less experience in Muay Thai. But he understood fighting on a level I did not. He showed me that technique without philosophy is empty. That strength without wisdom is useless. That winning does not always mean destroying. February 1971. Lumpinee Stadium. Bangkok. The night the crowd turned against a small man in street clothes. And the night that same man taught an undefeated champion, and 3,000 witnesses, what it truly means to be unbeatable.